Hi, I'm Micki Carroll, editor of Ankara Press, and I'm a cat herder, and I wear many hats when I herd cats. Publisher, editor, writer, mentor, educator. Today, I'm going to put on my publisher hat. There it is, publisher hat, and talk to you about how to write a blurb for your book. Now, why do you want a blurb for your book? I challenge you. Get a group of authors together. And you can do this, go to a library, go to a book writing meeting, get together with authors in some way and ask these authors to tell you what their book is about. Now, some authors can describe their book pretty quickly and make you interested, make you want to say, hey, can I get a copy of that? Do you have one with you now? Some authors instead kind of drone on and on about their plot or maybe characters in the book or why they wrote the book. They fail to hook the listener. And these descriptions, long, drawn out, complicated descriptions, fail to hook a reader. So, first off, if you're currently working on a writing project, I recommend subscribing to this channel for some tactical writing tips. But let's get started on some 5 steps to make a really successful blurb for your book. So what are those 5 steps to make a good hook or a good elevator speech? So many reasons to write a hook for your book. And you want to memorize the hook for your book. A short, sweet description that will grab them like a fish and reel them in. One reason is to have something to say at gatherings of other authors when people ask you what your book is about. So this hook again, this elevator speech, a short, memorable jingle about your book, you memorize the hook and you try it out on people. Writing one does not have to be painful. Now, before we get into the 5 steps of writing this hook, let me give you a couple of do's and don'ts. Number 1, do read The New Yorker. The New Yorker magazine and other book review subscription places online and in print, look at their book review section. After reading a few book reviews, come up with a quote for your book from the protagonist's point of view, for example. A quote that gives a good feel for what your book is all about. This can really draw in an interested reader. Someone interested in the topic might be pretty excited by your description from this quote. Here's a don't. Don't get into the ins and outs of plot again. Don't get into long descriptions of characters. You need pages and pages for that. And then you're simply rewriting your book. Instead, your book blurb, your hook, should be only 250 characters long, not words, 250 characters. That's one paragraph long, not a long one, short one. So here's how to write your blurb. Here's 5 easy steps. Number 1, I'm going to show you an example too here in a minute. So number 1, have beta readers. These are your friends, your neighbors, people at the grocery store, colleagues. Have them give you feedback. Some of these folks will use language that can be extracted, and if you have permission from them, you can use them as a book hook. You could also, and this is a really good place to start, go ahead and write your really long, detailed book description. Take a couple of pages. Go ahead. Hone it, edit it, make it as tight as you can. Include all the language from the beta readers that you got that you liked. Now, step number 3, go through with a highlighter and highlight those specific sentences that pop out and grab you. Those are the power sentences. These are the little chunks The chunks that are only about 25, maybe 35 words long, you should end up with many little chunks after doing this exercise. So pull out those chunks, put them away separately, put them in a separate spot, number them, 1 through 5, have 5 chunks at least. And hone those, edit those, get those down to, again, about 25 to 35 words each. Prioritize them, 1 through 5. What's the top? What's the best one? What's so good, but it's still on the list. Get them prioritized. Finally, step number 5, put all those chunks together into one paragraph and edit that paragraph to get rid of redundancy. You don't want to say stuff twice. Don't waste your words. You want to hone that paragraph down until it's only 250 characters long. So by doing a 250 character long book description, now you're getting closer to having a hook. That's what you're looking for. So I'll show you an example here. Let me share my screen and show you an example of what this could look like. So here we go. So, here's an example of how to create a book blurb. I just wrote a description for Autumn Car Press and followed the 5 steps that I just gave you to create the hook. And here's the chunks from my really long, drawn out description. This was the little ones, the things that I highlighted from my long description. And I won't read all these to you. I'll read the first 2. Autumn Car Press publishes emerging writers with powerful voices. We publish an online magazine called The Right Bridge and urge readers to mind the gap. Born on the banks of the Kansas River, Autumn Car Press is a scrappy small publisher. We produce quality books by emerging writers with powerful voices. And so came up with 5 of them, honed them down a little bit, and put them all together. Getting rid of the redundancies, I came up with a 58-word paragraph. Born on the banks of the Kansas River in historic Lawrence, Kansas, Autumn Car Press produces fiction, nonfiction, and poetry from emerging writers with powerful voices. We bring writers and artists together in collaborations that serve community and the planet. A scrappy small publisher, we also distribute a journal, The Right Bridge, and urge readers to mind the gap. Well, what do you think? That's still too long, isn't it? These shorter ones were better if I'm on an elevator or chatting with you in line at the grocery store. That's a pretty big mouthful there, those 58 words. That's a lot to say. Now, I took it down, and that's again why it's supposed to be only 255 characters. This is 39 words. So I honed it down to this. And finally, when we get it to, the place where we're at 250 or 200, around 250 characters, that's something you could say to someone in a short span of time and not, have it take too long. The elevator makes it to the ground and they've run off and you're chasing them to finish your sentence. No, you want to be able to make it through before you get to the floor. So in any case, this is a process for you to use, these 5 steps. And if you get started on it, I bet you'll come up with some really great hooks. Finally, here's a few questions to help you identify and find the fish that you're looking for. So who are you writing for? You have a hook. You're trying to hook somebody. Who is it? What are their interests? Can you describe your reader? Are they male, female, old, young? What's their education level? Where do they hang out? And what's your intention as an author? Who do you want to reach? How will readers identify your book as yours? Have you looked at other similar books similar to yours? Go look at their book descriptions. What do they say? That's a really good place to get ideas for what your book should say if it's very similar to theirs. And you might even want to ask that author to give you a review. They might do it. You never know. Finally, how will your book be distinguished from other books like that book? How is your book different from the other books that are already out there? If you can answer those questions and write a really tight book blurb, 250 characters or less, you are well on your way to having a great hook and a wonderful book blurb for all of your advertising purposes, especially when you go down that elevator with someone. Good luck. See you next time.